Hi everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for this Q&A. My name is Celeste Wong. I am really honored and excited to be here with so many members of the amazing film team behind Bye. Um, Super excited to introduce you now to some wonderful members here. We have the writer and director, Chell Steven. We have Sarah D'Ambrosio, producer, and we're really excited. We also have three of the wonderful actors. We have Romina Dugo, we have Augustus Rivers, and we have Juliet Amara. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
So I want to start off with you, Chell, um, and perhaps you too, Romina, oh, who also served as a co-producer, I should say. So when did your collaboration start, and what inspired this story specifically?
Well, this is our third collaboration, Rena and myself. We worked together on a Canadian TV show called Nurses many years ago, and then I wrote a short that she acted in, which she did a lot of solo work in it, and also did her own hair and makeup and got in her own wardrobe, which ends up, when I had the idea for this, I was like, she gets it. She simply knows the vibe. So I knew that she was going to be able to hang, in particular, in that flavor because it was a very indie style and was always going to be. Basically like typical indie fashion, we kind of, backdoored into what's available as one does, So I wrote it to be very contained at a property I have access to. It's my family's cottage. And again, I wrote it for Amina knowing that she could, you know, handle everything, she's virtually in every frame. And it's like, it's a lot. So not everybody could hang at that level. So that's what we did.
I have to add because Chell simply will not. So I made her be my friend after that shooting that episode together. And so we go for these like creative walks together when we're in the same town. We were on one of these walks. It was April and Chell was like, so I had this like little seedling of an idea for a feature. And I was like, right on, cool. And she's like, yeah, I can't say much about it, but it's kind of building. And she's like, I think we're going to shoot it in September. I was like, okay, bud, let's do it. But when Chell says something, she will achieve it. And we shot it in September. And I mean, that's not an easy feat, but that's just the kind of filmmaker she is. I just wanted to make sure everyone knows that.
Yeah, that's incredibly impressive. And then Sarah, at what stage did you join as a producer, and also what like attracted you to the project?
Yeah, I joined probably in the spring, and similar to what Romina just noted, I was really taken by Chell. We met for coffee to chat about the project, and I was just so impressed with how clearly she saw the vision for it. Romina was in mind already, so there was that collaboration that was set. But I really, really wanted to work with Chell and was just so inspired by everything that she was saying about the project and where she saw it going. And yeah, it was an incredible feat. She edited the project as well, so it was a heavy lift, and she's remarkable.
Yeah, that is amazing. And then Augustus and Juliet, if you could just both tell us like how you got on board. Was there an audition process? And what were your thoughts when you read the script and met with your collaborators?
Mhm.
Julia, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. Um, my agent emailed me one day that Chell had sent a very lovely little letter to her to send to me. And I think if I'm correct, Chell, you had seen Fitting In, and Chell is a friend of another person that I've worked with before. And she wanted to work with me and she had a role for me in this film. Carl, who's, I mean, an awesome name of a character. And she was like, I just want something like fun. And I just think like it would be fun to hang out and like shoot this. And like, I feel like you get the vibes too. And like, I absolutely do. So I was like, yeah, like, let's go to the cottage, the cabin for like a little bit and hang and shoot it. So yeah, we talked and I don't know, I just love Chell and it was just so much fun. So that's kind of how I got on board.
Offer only, babes. Offer only. That's what we're talking.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Um, yeah, first of all, Carl is such a good name. We were constantly like Carl on set. It was like the most said word. For me, I actually had I had the short that Chell and Romina had made played at Bushwick Film Festival, and I had also made a short that I wrote and acted in that was playing in that same shorts block. And so we met then, and then yeah, Chell and I like we we'd exchanged Instagrams, and then was like a while later. It was like a year later. And it's kind of like you're just like your dream. You make a short film, and then somebody like calls you one day and is like, "Hey, do you remember your short film?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "I wrote a feature. Do you want to be in it?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So I mean, I was pretty eager because I liked their short a lot, and I liked Chell's vibe a lot. And so I was pretty down already. But then I read the script and I really loved the script. I really like uh kind of nuanced films like that. I really like conversational, like funny, sad with a little bit of weird, kind of like dream scripts for me. So it was a no-brainer. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue because I want to get into that vibe and that tone of the script and then of course of the end product. It's something that I was really, really attracted to when watching this film. I immediately resonated with the tone. But it's hard to pull off. It's, very, very darkly comedic. And it's very much both of those things. And yeah, I'm just curious how you think about that tone, Chell, in your writing process. And then I'd love to hear from the actors after in terms of just like grasping that tone for their specific character. Because I think each of your characters does embody the sort of dark comedic vibe in a unique ways. Yeah, so can you speak to how you like incorporate that dark comedy in your storytelling?
Definitely. And by the way, thank you so much for, I'm like really heartened that it resonated with you. I know it is a really specific thing, apparently, like that we're doing tone wise. It doesn't hit for everybody. So I'm really like, anyway, and I know that, you guys see a ton of films. So thank you for, advocating for us and having us on board. Um, it's so funny. The other day I was crossing the border and he was like, I'm a filmmaker. What do you do? Whatever. And I was like, dark comedy. He's like, what's a dark comedy? And I was like, well, I'll tell you. So I had to like get into it. I'm like, so she's gonna kill herself, but it's a comedy. That's part of my like light pitch. But anyway, my when I told my agent about the concept, he was like, if I didn't know about your handle of tone, I would caution you against this. But because I do, like, go forth. So I do feel like I just think that the dark stuff is objectively hilarious. And yes, it's a coping mechanism, but also like it is. Everything is so absurd. Like I don't know. That's how I get through the darkness. I just laugh through it. To me, they're so close on the line. It's like crying at a funeral type shit, right? It's like all, I don't know. I think it's right there. So I obviously did want to be sensitive as far as everybody's experience with the topic, of course. I have my own personal experience that is what led me to like sort of make the project. So I do like I'm coming from an honest place about it myself. But yeah, so I think like I wanted to make it so the kind of how to get to like sort of a Beetlejuice handling of death was like when I saw like the montage in the middle, I knew that I wanted that to look Beetlejuicy because that's just like a style I like, but it's also like their handle of tone is something that I thought was a good example. So that's something I spoke about with our director of photography, Brennan Full. And yeah, I wanted to make sure that like different perspectives on it were kind of said by different people within. So like each of the characters kind of has a different offering on suicide, which are all relevant because like everything is true all at the same time. It's my firm belief that we do think everybody does think about this stuff more than they talk about. So ultimately, I wanted to handle it like in a kind of a not offensive way. Honestly, just not because I don't like want that I don't, but also I would it would upset me to hurt somebody's feelings. Honestly, it would. I'd cry, but I just wanted I want people to feel less alone when they watch it, and I think that people do actually think about this stuff. I think that talking about it is better than not. Is how she landed the plane eventually.
No, absolutely. Thank you for sharing all that. I think that is really nicely captured in the film and in the use of humor in the film. I think it's actually deeply like respectful of people's humanity to include humor as part of that. So I really appreciate that, and I really felt that through your performance, Romina, as well. You really bring all of those nuances and that complexity to that character, which is no small feat. So can you talk a little bit more about your approach to that character?
Thank you. Yeah, I think much like what Chell said, I think it's something that is more of a through line through people's lives than is maybe what I would think allowed to be spoke. It's one of the most taboo things to sort of admit to or talk about, worse than like having an addiction or it's pretty high up there on like that is a shameful thing to reveal, but it's not shameful, and that's the weird thing and the ironic thing, and like let's put a twist on it and make it kind of the funny thing is like I just I appreciate that there is a humor throughout this very dark topic in the film. The character of Andy did something, you know, um, really intensely badly judged, made a very badly judged decision. But I think beneath the subject of suicidal ideation and all of that is something else that piques my curiosity, which is also like success at all costs, which in like today's climate I feel is really prevalent. I think social media makes everyone able to be a star on their platform, and then it makes it more of a possibility, and then it makes people more hungry for it or whatever, to whatever degree. So that topic really interests me. I think that was part of Andy's struggle, is like success is the achievement of self-worth and it must happen at all costs, and if it's not there, why bother being alive, and how do you face life, how do you face people around you and expectations. But then there's also this element of connection, which is the opposite of the shame spiral that the you shouldn't talk about it thing, is like the connection between the two characters of Andy and Augustus's character Ryland that actually kind of heals these two people in facing whatever life throws. So I thought that was a really humane way of dealing with this subject matter, and not just making it be like a weird ironic twist on something dark, but like, yeah, but what is the opposite of that? And it really is like when you can share about it through whatever lens you have the capacity to, like there is actually room to survive it.
Yeah,
You're muted,
absolutely.
Chell. Oh.
Juliet or Augustus, I'd love to hear from either or both of you
Oh,
about
my hand went up.
that tone. No worries. Yeah, just capturing that specific voice through Carl and Ryland. Maybe Juliet first and then Augustus.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I thought playing Carl was just really fun, and it was kind of easy to capture the tone of like a person who's like down to earth in reality, kind of through everything what's happening, like everything that's happening in the film. It's kind of like, uh, I don't know how to describe it, but it's kind of just like, like Carl is just like, I don't know, real, been there, done that, but then also just like really, really in the moment, just real human being, despite like everything. The chaos of what it may seem like for everything to go on and for someone to go through all of that. And like also, I have gone through my fair share of like heavy things as well to contemplate and deal with. And I don't know, I found it really easy to be in that world dealing with what everyone was dealing with. It was fun.
Yeah, I do feel like Carl is a character that like a lot of the audience or the viewers can like connect to and find comfort with, like because of that. It's like we're kind of like witnesses to everything together.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
I really appreciated that about that character and your performance of it. Yeah, Augustus.
Yeah, I resonate a lot with what Julia just said. Like, I feel like um, in my experience of dealing with heavy things in my life and just past, present, like I think one of the only things that I think makes like those really really painful moments in life is, as Jill said and as Romina said, like connection and togetherness. And I think that sometimes, like in a weird way, it's kind of the like Ryland's the perfect person to encounter her in that moment, because only someone who gets it will understand that it's futile to like talk somebody out of that in that moment. That it's actually like what you kind of the best thing for that person is for someone to be right there with you, kind of, and understand in a way. And that those moments in my life have really meant a lot when I've encountered people who have either gone through the same or similar, or just have the capacity to hold that weight or that pain or that darkness, and just exist there. So you're not alone, because it's nothing's going to take it away, but you don't have to do it alone. And I think that was a massive thing for me, kind of taken away from the movie. It's just that sense of connection between two people, even at the very bottom. And then in terms of the humor, like, yeah, I think that's just Chell. Like, Chell's very funny, and Chell like creates a pretty like great atmosphere, and also gathers quite like dark, twisted people who can kind of find very dark things funny. Me being one. And then, Juliet and Romina are really funny as well. So it was very not hard for me to find humor in these scenes or in things, because I also like, having dealt with darkness and pain and lots of stuff, you got to laugh 100%. And it is like, it's humanizing, and it is humble, and it is healing to crack a joke, you know what I mean? And laugh, kind of, laugh in the abyss. So yeah, it was a really beautiful experience, and chemistry with those two is really easy. So
Yeah, absolutely. We're coming close to the end, but I do want to ask a little bit more about just the kind of logistics of the shooting itself, because it sounds like it came together so quickly, so impressively. But this being SF Indie Fest and us focusing on really and truly independent films, I'd love to just hear a little bit more about what some of the challenges were in terms of shooting, like how many days you had navigating that location of the a beautiful location, but all those outdoor scenes and all of that. I wonder if Sarah, maybe you could tell us a little bit about what kind of challenges came up and how you navigated those on set.
Sure. I think that one of the big gifts around this project is that part of the location where we shot it is a place where Chell grew up going to the cottage during the summers. So she had this beautiful community that was cheering for her and very supportive of the project. And we were kind of isolated from other cottages. So crew and cast were sleeping where we were also shooting. It was a bit of a camp. But part of the benefit of that was that there was a bit more leniency on being able to move things around or um, go over time on things, because we were in a space where the neighbors were very accommodating, and also it was just us. So I think that is a bit of an anomaly in terms of shooting locations. But I think that really lent itself to things going a lot smoother, and it was a really beautiful experience in that sense.
We did 12 shoot days and 2 6-day weeks, I think. Yeah, with 2 days in the middle. Um, so yeah, it was, the usual constraints of just like couple needing to do the overnights and when can you put those to try to make the turnovers. And to your point, like we scheduled a lot of the outdoor stuff in the first week in case there was weather, and just like, tried to do what we could as far as contingencies. It ended up being unseasonably warm for a September, which was so lucky for us because these cottages are not winterized. And yet, at like 4 in the morning, when you're doing a skinny dipping scene in September, it's still gonna be pretty cold. So it was like everything we did and we tried to do. Like there was a day actually when the scene where Andy's body is like washing up on the beach. We did push that because the day we were originally going to shoot it, it was colder than it had been, and we were like, okay, next week's going to be better. And that was to Sarah's point, like we had some flexibility because everybody was like there. But for the most part, yeah, like we got very fortunate as far as the external, components. we were kind of baked in around the availability of the external locations because there's a turkey fest that week and it's the highlight of the year. So the day they're like, you're going to take the place on turkey week. I'm like,
I forgot about the
I guess
turkey.
so.
Yeah,
So, it's like, again, creativity within limitations. It's like things revealed themselves like this has to be here. Okay. So we'll build, I love a decision of any kind. Then you can put everything else wherever it needs to be. But that's kind of the spirit of the whole project, really.
Yeah, I really love hearing about how collaborative it was, how in the moment you all were. It's such a wonderful film. And I feel like we could talk about it forever, but unfortunately we are out of time. But is there any place where our audience might be able to kind of like keep up with the film, to sort of keep up with what its long and beautiful journey will be?
Yeah, we've got a little Instagram, Byeeee with four E's, the film. And why four? It gets asked. Five was too many and three's not enough. That's my only answer there. You know. Uh, but yeah, buy the film on Instagram is where we're going to be kind of sharing all the different things we have coming up. And we're so grateful to come see you in person. And if you're watching this, if you like rented it or whatever it is, thank you so much for doing that. It really means a lot. We made it for people to watch. So, um, and all these guys have Instagrams that are basically their names. I'm fairly certain. So you should be able to find them.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what you all do next, and I'm excited to see the journey of the film. And I love saying it, bye. So that's an added bonus. And yeah, thank you all so much for this conversation. Thank you all for watching. Yeah, bye.
thank you so
Bye.
Thank you,
much.
Celeste. Thanks for having
Thanks,
us.
Celeste.